At a special board meeting, a critical vote took place that will reshape our schools. The Board of Education met to decide on option 2 of the Reconfiguration Plan, a plan that will close 3 of our schools. But this decision, passed with a narrow 5-4 vote, was made amidst controversy and confusion. Tensions ran high,
No, it's not.
voices were raised, and in a moment that seemed to shock many, a private meeting between a board member and the district's attorney left the community feeling shut
Wow,
out.
really?
Let's dive into the aftermath of this contentious decision. You'll hear from parents and members of the community left with more questions than answers. Here's a few feedback from the attendees. Stay with us. This is K-Star for Community Spotlight.
I feel like I just came out of a funeral, and you have that feeling where the world just ended and you don't know how to express it. I'm actually emotional about it. My children are all there now. I've been just kind of like going through this, like, what is happening? And then, I don't even think the district is aware of all that has happened. They have no clue. They have no clue that we're servicing over 200 something kids all year. They have no clue the amount of money we've invested in the facility to do what they have not done. And they have no clue. I probably know the school and the little corners of that school more than they do. I know the value of that school. I know that it actually is sustaining children. I don't even know what I'm going to do. I don't know how we're going to begin to start serving and recreating this. But they did not do their work or their due diligence to investigate what actually was needed. There's no way they could have. They have no clue the names of our children, our families, our parents, our coaches, mentor, the college students, all that we serve at Parker. They have no clue. And so they just make this rash decision without finding out. And so every day of this process, every meeting I attended, I still couldn't find out what was their reason behind it, because I'm actually at Parker. I'm in the trenches at Parker. I'm there with my families. I just don't understand. I really can't. And, I'm a person that I don't jump out in the media. I don't make a lot of noise. I do the work. I can't understand how they're going to tell my children that I chose to let them stay at programs today than to bring them here, because I didn't know what the fight would be. But I'm so disappointed. I'm very disappointed. I'm heartbroken. I can't see the justification behind it. We're going to lose a lot of children. We're going to be rebuilding for years because our children have a culture. There's a culture that exists that services not just academic, not just money, but services families. So what do we say to these families? I mean, I'm heartbroken. I want to believe that there's still fight left, but we're going to do the work. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Miss Crenshaw, she's probably going to speak to you next. We work closely together. I've raised her children. Her children have been in, there's leaders here that have all been in this program in this school. They mentor, they're internship. So I could go on about the way I feel. I'm hurt, I'm broken. And the work that we're doing, they're talking about what they see because they don't know, they don't come out. So they don't have relationships, with our families and our children. They just make decisions from a corporate perspective, but it's more than that. And these feelings, these children, we're nurturing lives. This is generations of educating children, of serving, providing programs, giving them scholarship opportunities that bring them on to colleges. I can go over each of my children's name that have been served at Parker. And, now we have to figure it out from here. So I'm disappointed.
Thank you for your time tonight. I know this is emotional, so thank you.
But the reality is, we're not white people. We're not.
I'm feeling disheartened. I'm feeling like those who are supposed to lead are not leading properly in reference to their own policies, following their own policies. Um, Trustee Helene Jinga should not have been allowed to leave that open public meeting to ask a private question of the attorney. Because if it's not meeting exact requirements, then any discussion should be before the public. Her question should have been before the public. So she walked out of the room with the attorney for the district, and then she came back, and it was like almost if she was the swing vote. So what did she say to him? What did he say to her? That was not legal. That was not appropriate. Because, and as they said about in exec session discussing the reorg, there are requirements that needs to be met in order for things to be discussed in executive session. And I'm sure, I'm almost willing to bet, if I was a betting woman, that their discussions in executive session about the reorg, about the closing of school, did not meet the requirements all the time for executive session. They should have had a public session for a reorg public session of the board and flush this out before the public. The board, the community not being allowed to speak tonight, when I handed out the board policy, and I and my daughter Destiny have spoken about the board policy. And what happened was, after the meeting, before the meeting was aired to the public, they omitted my daughter and I from a public legal meeting. So what we spoke about, the questions I asked, the statements we made were omitted. We were just totally omitted, taken out of the board meeting, as though we were never there and never spoke publicly during the public comment section.
As a member of the Mount Vernon Council of PTAs, being that we sent a letter to the Board of Trustees that several of the trustees mentioned our letter, considering our families and our students, and that wasn't considered, to just delay this vote by one more week, that wasn't considered at all by all trustees, it's an issue. It's very unsettling to know that we will now have 3 schools closing. It's unsettling to know that we had a special meeting where public comment was supposed to have taken place, and it did not. They violated our rights. It's concerning. It is. I have been speaking on this since the moment I heard about it, and it's to the point. It's like, do our voices even matter? They have voted in people who do not care about the voices of our families of Mount Vernon. They don't care about the voices of our students. These are people that have been voted in, and who now have made these decisions for our families, but they don't want to hear our voice or concerns. So it's very unsettling for me.
I am the PTA president at Parker School, has been a PTA member since 1984. I have my card to prove it. They rushed this. We just really finding out about it. And Parker is a historic school, the first black teacher that could teach in Westchester, because they denied her teaching, and she was the first black in Westchester. Matter of fact, yes, Westchester County. The first black principal was at Parker School. And what they're doing is unfair. We're trying to find out about the bond money. What happened to the bond money? What schools got the bond money? It wasn't a Southside school, so we need to know. I'm looking for a pro bono lawyer. Would you know one? I'm serious. Would you know one that can help us out with this? Because this is very unfair. And as you can see with the people in there, nobody enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And you see how they voted, and you see the question that was asked. First of all, this is a toxic board. They needs to go. And when those seats are up, I hope we get some new board members. It's not fair what they're doing to our great city of Mount Vernon. It's not fair.
Thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
Ms. Crenshaw.
All right.
Thank you.
And if you know a lawyer, let me know. Okay.
Basically, there was more than enough evidence to show that all the board members together did not have all the information that they needed to make a cogent and better decision. And unfortunately, this feels like it was rushed, because it was rushed. And the other part of this is that they're in the search for a superintendent. They're in the search for a superintendent right now. Why would you saddle a new superintendent with a configuration that may not be very well? Now, I understand March 1st is an issue and they got to get things done, but it should have thought about that last year when they wanted to do this, and they came up with this for a while. And it's pretty clear that all the board members did not have the sufficient information to make the best decision possible.
All right. Thank you, sir, for your
Sure.
time. I really appreciate you.